This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski.
Featuring former FBI Special Agent and Chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program, Robin Dreeke.
Lots of warning flags that went up, though. Probably the most telling one was the drive home, and I didn't realize this till I read the book. The dad had Googled the route home from Idaho all the way back to Pennsylvania, and it's a straight line right across. I think it was I-90, or I-80, whatever. I-90, I think.
One of them,
right. Right. And Brian's like, nope. We're going to dip down to Colorado, and we're going to take this long, circuitous route and add days to our trip, even despite we might have snowstorms and everything else. And the dad's like, at this point, the dad's living with a lot of the guilt because he doesn't think he's been a good dad, and so he's got reps of acquiescing and not wanting to cause a fight. But that was probably one of the big signs in there as well. And then along the route, Brian then says, "Dad, I got to tell you about something." And he's like, "Uh-oh, what is it?" And Dad's thing is going to drop the major bomb of something. And it actually happened to be that, he was about to be fired as a teaching assistant because his students couldn't stand him because he's a harsh grader and they're about to kick him out. So there's a lot of interesting data points. And the dad did ask the neighbor to, "Hey, can you watch out for my son?" The neighbor invites him to a party, to be nice. And so you have all these data points, as well as Kohberger's behavior around girls. They made him feel creepy. So I didn't see anything or read anything yet. Again, I'm only about halfway through that said, "Oh my gosh, we missed all the signs." No, this is an odd kid with unusual behavior and that had a lot of problems growing up, and the dad's feeling guilty over those things. So he's trying to be a better dad today. Where he's going to go with it. And I've read some of the reviews also on Amazon online for it too. And a lot of people are saying, well, it doesn't tell me anything I didn't already know.
Sure.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's a great summary of the case.
Yeah.
For me as a behavior guy, I'm loving it because it tells me backstories and life arcs of everyone involved.
Yeah.
The girls and the boy that were killed, their backstories, their family stories, their history.
Yeah.
So that's what.
And the more information that you have on all of the characters in this, which are real human beings, obviously, the better you can understand it. The better you can understand the interactions between everybody, why decisions are made this way or that way because of their behavior arcs, their history, all of that. It certainly, obviously there was a lot of weird behavior when Kohberger, it was interesting when they got pulled over. That was a weird one. The first thing the dad brings up is the murders to the cop. And there's that famous clip where Kohberger's like, what are you saying? And he's driving a white Elantra coming from there. It was, it was bizarre. And then, of course, we know Kohberger back home cleaning the back of the car with bleach, wearing gloves, putting things into Ziploc bags, and then eventually being arrested. There's even been some stories, unconfirmed, that even the sisters had brought up, "How do we know it's not you, Brian?" At Thanksgiving dinner. So there's a lot of interesting thing there. One thing I will note, and I want to get your thoughts on this with the behavior arc, Dad really had that guilt. He really wanted to be there for his son. He wanted to be a good dad. They arrested Kohberger. They take him back to Moscow. As far as we know, they've never gone back to Moscow. They've never been at his hearings. They've never been at anything. And Kohberger's had a lot of hearings, but they never came back with him. They were able to drive out there to pick him up for Thanksgiving, but why is there no family support behind their son?
Oh, sorry. It's my son. So using that deep empathy, reversing, and trying to place myself in that position with those kinds of facts and data, I would feel like a crushing failure.
Yeah.
And I can't face it. So I literally just think it's not complicated in most of these situations.
I hear you.
I just think he must feel like a crushing failure as a father, and he can't even face it yet. It's got to be devastating. It's got to be absolutely devastating that you didn't do, in his mind, granted, whether he's guilty or not, he's being accused of it. So in his mind, because it would be my mind, I was supposed to not allow this to happen.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah. I hear you. It's not just we don't believe that he's innocent, or I can't face up to the fact that my son is sitting in this position, guilty or innocent. I can't face up to it. That's your opinion, and that makes sense. That makes more sense than just we think he's guilty. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I generally, when it comes to human behavior, I don't try to overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
I really try to keep them really very simple, because usually it's a simple answer makes the most sense. It's like, what would you do? What would you feel? Just try your best to put yourself in that horrendous situation. You're a dad, and you, I know you do a tremendous amount for your daughter, and, we do the same thing with my kids. And, if they stumble so hard and you weren't there when you thought you needed to be, even though everyone's walking their own path, our role as parents is the number one job in the world to us. And when it was to him, he took his job as dad, as I'm reading, and I believe so before that, very, very seriously. And he had a lot of guilt that he didn't do a better job up until this point. And so to be faced with his own failure, not just his son being accused, but his own failure, of your own identity as a human being, that is extremely tough blow. It's for us psychologically. So how someone responds to that, you can only have your own conjecture. So this is how he's responding to his own view of his own self-worth.
We also don't have mom, though. We don't have any of the sisters. Nobody else is there. I think it's family crushing.
I think it's family crushing.
Yeah. I think it speaks some volumes there. And I can't imagine being in that family trying to come to grips with what is very likely a reality here. Obviously, he's innocent until proven guilty. But, you look at the facts and go, I don't know. This doesn't look very good for our son. Fascinating book. If you want to check it out, it is out there right now. Howard Blum. It's When the Night Comes Falling, a requiem for the Idaho student murders.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free,
so you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.